Opinion diverse and unique social, political, economic understanding of Northeast. We often tend to overlook Northeast India as a homogeneous unit, but the region is not as we imagine, comprising one certain geographical or topographical feature, with a common culture or ethnic group. The present Northeast comprises 7 sister states, namely Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, and their brother state, Sikkim. It is connected through a small corridor known as the Siliguri Corridor, commonly referred to as the Chicken Neck Corridor, to the mainland of India. The northeast of India is often fondly referred to as miniature India in the context of its diversity. The region is socially, culturally, and ethnically unique, as much as its topography, and houses multiple ethnic and indigenous groups ranging around 200 in number, along with magical and soul-capturing diverse flora and fauna. The northeast of India is home to several tribal and non-tribal ethnic groups. Prominent tribal groups that can be mentioned include the Angamai, Garo, Kasai, Niashi, Kuki, Bhutia, among many. The remaining non-tribal population mostly resides in the plains of Brahmaputra, Barak, Imphal, and Tripura. Apart from the unique biodiversity housing rare species such as the orchids of Arunachal Pradesh, the Sangha and Chirui lily of Manipur, and the one-horned rhinoceros of Assam, the rich vegetation of the region is also a major source of livelihood for the people of the region. It is also historically evident that the Northeast region also has one of the oldest civilizations in India. Neolithic findings, asymmetric to the findings of other Southeast Asian countries, mirror Northeast India as culturally and traditionally similar to its Southeast Asian neighbors. In this view, the indigenous Northeast people are largely of Mongoloid descent, with the nature of the geography greatly influencing the nature of development. Cultural bridging and affinities visible in the form of societal practices, religion, and traditions highlight the reason why Northeast states often show close belonging to Tibeto-Burmese and Southeast Asian cultures. With almost 2/3 of most of its geographical area covered by forests, the tribal population of Northeast India resides sparsely distributed on the rough, hilly terrain of the region. It is to be kept in mind that the distribution of population is dense in the plains of Northeast India, with a mixture of indigenous people along with immigrants. The plains of Northeast India are mostly the hub of trade and commerce and represent a culmination of diverse cultures and traditions. The uneven distribution of population contributed by the topographical features of Northeast India often affects the political and economic aspects of the region. Nanese, Northeast India does not have an equal distribution of population, and population density varies accordingly due to several factors such as topography, birth ratio, death rate, immigration, and others. An example of this is Assam, which houses the largest plain area of the region and has about 68% of the total Northeast's population. The hilly areas are predominantly occupied by the tribal population, and 84% of the Northeast population is predominantly rural. This heavily influences social aspects of coordination, interaction, harmony, and development of the region, with several ethnicities thriving together. In its diverse population, the cultural paradigm of Northeast India showcases a miniature encyclopedia of civilization. While the region showcases appropriation in faith due to the colors of Hindu Vaishnavism in the plains of Tripura, Manipur, and Assam, hill tribes affiliate themselves to the faith of missionary Christians mostly. Northeast India espouses a blend of cultures where we can see indigenous nature gods worshipped and celebrated alongside Diwali or Christmas. In its vibrance, on the flip side, Northeast India is also a region often misunderstood as enormously backward, as any region can be, due to the continuous tensions arising within the region. Social issues arising out of subversive efforts to control land and resources, extreme ethnicity and separatist movements, insurgency, tensions arising out of unequal developmental prospects along several areas within the region, and the issue of drugs, etc., often act as plagues infesting the region. Northeast India often scores headlines because of such issues, and these factors contribute to its lag in moving ahead in development. The initial obstacle arises from the unequal demographic spread across regions of Northeast India, especially between hills and plains, as mentioned earlier, contributing enormously to the unequal distribution of resources, which heavily influences the cultural development of the entire region too. The rugged terrain often causes hindrance to easy transportation and reduces the pace of the flow of ideas and resources. If we are to follow the geographical facts and statistics, the Northeast states cover a total area of 2,55,00 square kilometer, and the states are officially recognized under the Northeast Council, which was constituted in the year 1971. Northeast India covers only 10% of India's total geographical area. But the region has a population covering only 4% of the country's population. Northeast India is also a region often troubled by history and its geopolitical status, in addition to being one of the most diverse regions in the country. Historically and administratively, Northeast India functioned separately in the pre-British era, although having its own share of influence culturally. Looking into the region from a political perspective, the region was largely under the rule of 3 several kingdoms of Tripura, Assam, and Manipur. The periphery of the region was often under tribal chieftains. Eventually, it started with a famed Portuguese explorer named Vasco da Gama discovering India, after which the East India Company ventured to expand their political power over India for around 2 centuries, extending towards the region of Northeast and Southeast Asian countries too. At the northeastern front was the strong Burmese Empire, which had already established power over the frontiers of Northeast India, namely Assam and Manipur. This resulted in Burma acting as an obstacle and threat in the way of expansion for the British. Major efforts were made by the British to support those rebelling against the Burmese power in Arakan, Assam, and Manipur to defeat this empire. Eventually, the Anglo-Burmese War broke out on March 5, 1824, crippling the Burmese Empire with huge payments as expenses of war, surrendering a huge portion of its empire and eventually the signing of a peace treaty between the King of Ava and the British. Prominent kingdoms of Assam included even Sylhet of present-day Bangladesh and eastern Duars of Bhutan. Tripura and Manipur were not only under the British control, but the British also annexed the Garo, Naga, and Lushai hills. This meant that almost the entire frontier of northeast India was reorganized by the British. The capture of the region brought a cumulative effort by the British to also align the region with the rest of India. This resulted, following Indian independence, in the merger of northeastern states into India. After its merger, Northeast India is often clubbed under a single entity due to its shared problems, similar traditions, and geological similarities. The Northeast Frontier Agency, NEFA, became crucial after the 1947 Indian independence. Its administration was overlooked by the governor of Assam, who functioned under the Ministry of External Affairs, acting as an agent to the President of India. In short, geopolitically, the region was seen as a single entity and was often largely under Assam until further divisions. But even topographically, Northeast India can be largely divided into the plateaus Meghalaya and the Karbi Plateau of Assam, the hills and the mountains Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, hills of Assam, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, and the plains of Brahmaputra, Tripura, and the Imphal Valley. Assam was divided into 4 states: Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and the parent state. Arunachal Pradesh, along with the princely states of Manipur and Tripura after their merger, finally formed the Northeast states. The split of Northeast India into several states and autonomous political units was mostly to realize the political aspirations of the diverse ethnic tribes. In 1990, Sikkim was also eventually added as part of the Northeast, as the 8th state. The Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region, commonly known as MDNR, overlooks the entire region of Northeast India and its issues. This ministry was set up in September 2001 and became one of the core authorities to overlook the developmental needs and prospects of the region. Political influences arising out of the non-cooperation movement, Quit India, and the Second World War have strongly helped shape identity consciousness in the region. Strong assertion of regional identity thus becomes a major driving force for political secessionist aspirations for many communities of the region. Such political aspirations in Northeast India are, in fact, very closely linked with the social and economic status of the communities. Economically, global trade and connectivity with Northeast India since time immemorial were mainly conducted via sea route and land route. East Bengal, which happens to be the closest to waterways for Northeast India, was an important waterway other than inland waterways and rivulets. The region depended heavily and majorly on the sea route until after the 1947 division of independent India into East and West Pakistan. Presently, due to blockage by Bangladesh and its considerable distance from the Kolkata port, the economy of Northeast India today is severely affected as compared to the past. Today the region stands landlocked and is surrounded by several countries, also highlighting its importance in global trade and connectivity. Biodiversity hotspots, with 1/15 of the region having potential petroleum and natural gas reserves, the region is indeed an unexplored powerhouse of resources. The Northeast region also hosts a large number of youth population, which can, in fact, boost human resource development, considering the higher literacy rate as compared to the rest of the country. The average literacy rate of the northeastern states is, in fact, much higher than the national average. However, due to productivity below the optimal level, poor infrastructure, and lag in development, the region is engulfed with a poor quality level of education, with around a 68% rate of unemployment. Northeast India is in dire need of evolvement in its approach towards development. Moreover, the northeastern states are increasingly dependent on the central government for their economy, and this also needs political will towards sustainable growth. The people of Northeast India are no doubt increasingly becoming vocal about its state of affairs and economic condition. Although frustrations arising out of the remoteness of the region and its backwardness are also one of the factors which make the region a breeding ground of insurgency, there are increasing political aspirations and a thrill to achieve economic empowerment and stability. Hopefully, with the central government's empowering approach for the region, starting from the Northeastern Region Power System Improvement Project NRPSIP to boost economic development, Bharatmala Pariyojana for road infrastructure, Regional Connectivity Scheme Raksudan for affordable air travel, Swadesh Darshan Scheme to boost tourism, National Bamboo Mission for sustainable development, Northeast Industrial Development Scheme to promote employment, among many others, it will prove as stepping stones towards progress and harmony in the region. Considering Northeast India's potential in global geopolitics due to its strategic location, proving a crucial factor for connectivity with ASEAN countries, its tourism advantages thanks to its rich biodiversity, and the huge potential of resources which can boost the economy if sustainable development is targeted, the region has unfathomable areas for exploration and ample room for development, which can even shape the global stage of India in the world. Northeast India first needs to address its domestic issues evolving out of the ideological movements infesting the region and the poison of insurgency. Northeast India needs a strong political will instead of a separatism mindset, more tolerance towards diversity, and an accountable government to ensure inclusivity and belongingness. This can prevent the region from being puppets of external forces and help enhance national security. To fulfill the aspiration of attaining global visibility in the economy, the Northeast region needs evolvement and strategic planning unique in purpose to act as a catalyst for development, progress, and peace. To understand the real-time situation and prevailing status, strategic participation of the mass from the root level is required. Governance should strongly espouse the Gandhian idea of participation from the grassroots level through proper awareness. Northeast India needs further facilitation of the flow of resources, infrastructure augmentation, including technology, and acceleration of startups, rural industries, and trade and tourism. Rome was not built in a day. India's Northeast concerns can be an arduous effort from a magnifying lens. But with constant checks and commitment towards the nation's future, the future of Northeast India stands bright. The author is the General Manager at Helping Hands Career IT Solutions Pvt Ltd, Manipur. Views expressed in the above piece are personal and solely those of the author. They do not necessarily reflect News 18's views. Swipe left for next video and latest blogs.